I'll set it up by letting you hear something. This was Shedeur Sanders at his team's showcase, what others call a pro day, about 2 weeks ago, expressing the utmost confidence in his own abilities. Here's what he said.
All I need is opportunity. Simple. Whatever franchise want to change their franchise, and there's no doubt who to go with. I've done it over and over and over, so you'll be a fool not to pick me.
So he said that, and I saw articles written in which an unnamed GM described him as brash and arrogant, and I felt like the general tone of reaction toward him was a negative one. Now, I want to show you something Ahton, Jeanty, who we just showed you dunking at 5'9", who was the overwhelming top running back in this prospect in this class, said in the Players Tribune. This just came out yesterday. He said, if you pick me, this was like a letter he wrote to the NFL franchises. If you pick me, it's simple. I'm coming to your franchise to do what Saquon and the Eagles just did. I'm coming to win big soon. And that was just a tiny piece of what he said. He went on to say, I would take the guy that nobody can tackle. It was as brash and as arrogant a comment as you could possibly make. And let me be clear, I loved it. And I would think every team in the NFL would love it. Who doesn't want that guy? I don't want the guy who says, take me and I'll do my best. And try really hard. But my point is, he compares himself to Saquon Barkley, who was the best running back in the NFL, just had one of the greatest seasons ever. Great. Shedeur Sanders didn't compare himself to Patrick Mahomes. He just said what he said. And the point I'm trying to make here is, there is a double standard that I think is based on confirmation bias. There are people who just don't like the Sanderses, they don't like Deion, they don't like Shedeur, they've made up their minds, and so when he says something like that, they say, see, that's what I'm talking about. Ahton Jeanty says, actually even more, words that could be described as more brash and more arrogant to the reaction is, oh, I love that kid, love his moxie, love the attitude, that's the kind of guy I want on my team. I just thought it was an interesting juxtaposition. J-Mac, what do you think?
I think the people that are comparing these two and saying something different are idiots. I think at the same time, when you look at the draft this time of year, this is what every prospect is saying about how good they are. But at the same time, when you're evaluating a prospect and you're looking, and you know this, Mike T, to draft a guy this high, you overturn every stone to figure out anything about this kid. Mac Jones.
All right, so we have their view on it, and then also I'm just going to flip over here to Will Howard. Will Howard actually said something similar. So let's go to X, and actually it's just the first one right here. Will Howard has plenty of confidence in himself and believe he's the best QB in his class. So that's one of the things that I don't really understand. All of these guys are coming out confident. I really like a confident QB. And I don't have a problem with that. So when, let's see, I think I can find it. I'll find it while I'm actually making my point here. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is what this is another thing that Will Howard said. He said, teams that pass on drafting him will regret it. And I said, are y'all okay with Will's confidence? QB confidence has been a sticking point for people with this draft. I like a confident QB. I really like a confident QB. I think confidence is one of the things that a quarterback needs. They need to be able to, they need to be able to bounce back when they make a bad pass. They need to be able to eliminate that. They need for it to not weigh them down as they got to go and do the next play and everything. So we're going to that next possession of the ball if they have a turnover. So I think confidence is the thing that makes a difference with, when you have a confident quarterback, they can kind of shake that off easier, understand they will make mistakes, and use that as opportunities to get better. So I appreciate that, and I like the fact that now, I don't know why, this whole draft cycle, it took so much time for people to start calling out the hypocrisy in how Shedeur is covered versus other players in this draft and them actually showing their confidence. So it was actually refreshing when I saw this clip, and I was like, man, I got to bring this clip in just as we kind of end all of the draft talk and, kind of just going over the things that, we've been going over regarding the draft. And